All right, so we've got DaVinci Resolve open. This is DaVinci Resolve 17, latest version. First thing we're going to do is create a project. Now, I generally use the project name to be the same as the folder name that I created here. So I just copy that. New project, same name. That way it's just continuity between, I don't lose track of where I'm up to. So, okay, here we're in the media page. We're going to just basically bring everything in. So I'm just going to copy this whole folder. So just drag the whole folder down to the folder. Now Premiere Pro is the same as this, that if you drag it into the section here in the middle, it will basically copy all the files without keeping the file structure. But if you copy it into where the folder is, then it keeps the folder structure. Now with DaVinci Resolve, it has a default frame rate, and then it just said that the all frame rate of your content is slightly different. I shoot everything in 25 frames per second. So it just prompted me to fix it up. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings. I'm just going to check and make sure I've got everything the way I want it, right? Now, the one thing I usually change is I want it to be a 4K project, right? So from here, straight away, we're saying 4K because everything I produce is going to be in 4K. Frame rates already at 25 frames per second because that's what all the footage is at. The only other thing I really change here is to go into proxies. I set it to half, and I set the proxy type to ProRes proxy. This basically is just to keep it at a smaller file. That's it. And then hit save. Okay, everything in here is now in here in the format that it was in the other folder. So this is my original audio files. So I've got my Hero 9, I've got Matt's content, and then I've got my Hero 7. Now these audio files, I'm keeping there the original audio files, but I've already edited the other audio files. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete that folder. Now I will go into the audio file in a second, and which we'll do in the audio section. So if you want to jump to that first, you can, but effectively it's just another version of the same file, right? So it's just, I've created a copy, which has got just a mono version instead of the 4-channel version that comes out of the GoPros. Now that we have all that in there, it's basically the first thing is just to do a quick check, make sure all the files look good. Is everything coming through as expected? Do we see what we intended to see? And does everything look right? Yes, it does. Now, at this point, I'm starting to now think about, okay, I've got everything structured the way I want to structure it. And there's a couple of different approaches we can take at this point. And kind of a little bit of this is, that's a funny story, we'll get to that. This is where a point where we're starting to think about what sort of video we are actually creating. And I don't want to jump too quickly into starting to create timelines and stuff like that. First thing I want to do is I want to think about what's the story I'm trying to tell here. So at the moment we've got everything structured into where they sit in the folders, just purely out of which camera it's come out of. Now that kind of gives me a baseline. Now, as we talked about before, we're going to talk about story. So the first thing I want to do is start to develop what that looks like. So really, before I really do anything, what I want to do is just open up a notepad, just open up a document, just to kind of start to flush things out. Now, of course, you can use a notepad if you prefer the analog version, but I like this because I can kind of go back to it and look at it on other devices. So basically I've just got a Google Drive here, and I create folders. So all my videos that are done, they're all sitting in here. And usually I just keep all, when I'm going to release something, it's where I keep my thumbnails, where I keep the transcript and all that sort of stuff. But also, usually have a document that kind of defines, just a notepad, it's just defining what I'm going to do. So again, now, because this is based on YouTube, then I do have episodes, so I kind of start with that as a prefix. If I don't know what the episode is, I'm just going to give it XX, just kind of, I'm going to come in and change it later. So then I'll just give it the date. Same file structure, again, just so everything sort of relates to one another. Now that one I've already done, actually. That ended up being episode 100. believe it or not. So I can move that done. That's another one that I'm working on. So just it's just sitting in there, create new doc. Again, the name, all the same, right? Just makes it easy. So the first thing I start to think about is, what is this? What is this all about? All right, and I'm going to end up eventually with a title, right, for this document, as well as what will end up being the title of the video, right? But no, at the moment, it's nothing. It's a working title. So then I might start to think about story. Now, this is where I'm just going to start to just literally start with bullet points. What happened? What do we got? Now, I've also got, of course, a GPX file that I've been recording, while we took the trip. I've got even, I can grab my timeline. So I've got a timeline here of where we actually went for the day, and so I can kind of use, whatever you want to use as your basis, you need something that kind of just tells you what you did. So just to even remind you, because even now as we're going through this, I don't remember what's there. I'm actually going to be experiencing this the same way you would be, in that I haven't set this up with a perfect scenario. I haven't set this up with the video we recorded was specifically recorded for this. I've actually used something that I used on the day, which I know we had issues with. I actually had the GoPro on my helmet fell off, right? So again, but so that's all in this, right? And the whole thing about when we're creating these style of videos is things go wrong. Like, things don't always go perfectly, and even when you're recording, sometimes you forget to record things. Sometimes you miss opportunities to record things, and that's okay, right? That's all a part of it. And so a big part of what we're going to go through with this particular video is that I had the same experience, and we just have to roll with it, right? So we can plan for that, and we can still draw out the best story we can from that, even with all those potential issues. From the memory of the day, we, left Sydney. Well, even I met Matt at Macca's, right? Left Sydney, met up with the Garys. And then what happened? Then we rode to the dirt. Matt's first real crazy dirt. Right, that's probably the first real part of the story. Then I had a stack. Pretty big one too. Well, maybe not big, but hurt. So this is now part of the story starting to flow, because the whole point of this too is to work out what you don't want. Because so many times when we're putting a video together, we tend to just by default, we jump in there straight away and we start just basing it on the timeline. And we just fill it out with this massive timeline of everything we shot. And we end up with hours and hours of footage. And you start going searching for a story, and it takes forever to go through all that footage. So what we're trying to do is shortcut that. It's much faster to just write it into here quickly and figure out what is actually the best bits. And then we can just ignore all the other stuff, and we don't have to go through all that footage that's not needed. So after that, center stopped working. Minor detail. GoPro mount broke. Oh, then we hit the barrier, road blocked. Then we hit a roadblock. So we had to backtrack. Causeways. Change of plan, no camping. That's pretty much it. And then cruised, chilled out. I don't think I actually got any footage of that. And then we got even the next day, Old Road. I think that was it. Nothing else happened. So straight away, I'm kind of getting an idea of what's here, and I can start to now piece this out. What I'm looking for is, what are the big chunks? What are the big standouts? Now, That was a standout. That was a standout. That was interesting. Those two are kind of big bits. And then cruising home is kind of minor. So this is where I even decide, do I want to keep all this bit at the start, you know, just meeting up at Macca's and all that sort of stuff. And really it's interesting, but we've probably got 5 minutes, 10 minutes of footage there, but really it's probably 30 seconds, really. And so I can wrap this up as that's the intro. Then we've got probably a quick B-roll of writing. Yeah, maybe this is a little bit of music and a B-roll. So, right, so we've got some talking there, B-roll music. Then we've got this, like, the real dirt. I might wrap this up as other issues. And we've got final challenge. Cruise home. Now, that's the ending, right? So this is just the ending, which doesn't really matter much. In fact, even all of that bit, I reckon that doesn't matter. I'm going to get rid of that. Now I can start to think about what am I actually going to get rid of here. Strike through. Command-Shift-X, that's right. I don't think I need that. I don't really need that. The old road bit, maybe. I don't actually have anything of that. Maybe that actually is just a closer. Even the old road bit, maybe I don't need any of that. It's not really going to add anything to this, so we'll probably get rid of it. Now, you're probably thinking, what? You just spent all this time doing this. Why are you doing this? And I'll probably fast forward through like that. You didn't need to sit through all that. The whole point of this is just really to start to know exactly what it is that we're going to build out. Now, this might be, you know, good 15 minutes on that. This, I don't want that to be any more than 5 minutes. In fact, I don't even break that down to 3 minutes. I want to get that down to 3 minutes. This is 1 minute max. This, 2 minutes. Maybe 3. Final challenge, this is going to be another big one. Maybe 15 minutes, right? And then the ending, 2 minutes max. Once we've reached our final climax, climactic, drama-filled climax, we want to move on from that pretty quick, right? We want to get to our ending pretty quickly from there. So, the whole point of all that is that's what we're going to build our structure around. And this is going to make it so much faster if we're building this and kind of going, okay, well, if that ride to the dirt bit, I'm only going to do for 1 minute. There's no point me going through 10 minutes of footage. Right, we're really trying to shortcut the process because even though that took us, 7 minutes just to go through and define all that, you would spend hours and hours and hours going through all that footage and going, should I cut that? Should I not cut that? And we can kind of make that decision nice and fast right from here. And then we can jump into our timelines and start to build it out.